Okay, this is the breaking news. My name's Daniel Effinite, and we're here with Albert Conti. I remember this time.
Good. A little less windy in here.
Right? So thank you again for coming on. I felt like you didn't really get a fair shake when we were doing our first broadcast. I really appreciate you coming out and speaking with us again. That means a lot to me. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
So I'll just let you go ahead. We spoke, guys, we spoke over the phone, and he's got a lot to talk about. I've got some announcements, but I think what he wants to say is a little bit more important than that. We'll eventually get to those, and thank you. Just go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
So, first of all, I want to address my opponent, Chris Fry. I think it was last night he was knocking on doors in our neighborhood, and in his address, he made the statement that people are telling him I don't take his campaign seriously. First of all, anybody that knows Albert Conti will tell you this. If I have something to say, I will say it to your face and I will make it public. I'm not the kind of guy that talks behind your back. So I did not say that. It's totally bogus. Whoever's telling that, it's just not the truth. I take everybody serious.
Yeah.
And I said it very openly before. Chris is a good young man. Very intelligent young man.
Yeah. But
the fact remains is my points are this. You're sitting in my office building and look around this wall. What do you see? You see projects up here. Somebody who has a history of creating jobs and businesses. Someone who has a history of making $1 million decision. And I don't think you should be mayor or even be considered to be mayor unless you have this kind of experience under your belt. I'm going to ask you a question, Dan. There's Effinite Enterprises. Your company runs $20+ million a year through its books.
For the record, there is an Effinite Enterprises. I don't know.
Okay, your company runs $20+ million a year through its books. Sure. You're looking for someone to come in and run your company, right? I interview for the job. You read my resume. My resume doesn't show anything where I've made any business decisions ever managed any people, or ever made $1 million business decision for any other company. And I'm 30+ years old. Are you going to hire me?
That sounds like a loaded question that I
asked you a question. If you read that resume, would you trust me to manage your $20 million plus a year business?
The answer to that is if you don't have experience with millions of dollars, no,
you should grow into it.
I wouldn't have
exactly.
An issue with
exactly right. No different than me when I go sit in an interview for a potential job with a customer. They want to see a history. What have you done in the past? They're not going to trust me with $5 million of their money if I can't show them that, look, I've done a $5 million project before. It's the same thing in a mayor. You got a guy, this is a strong form of government we have. Okay, this is Elwood City, where you have a weak form of government. This mayor has power in Newcastle. He has power to make day-to-day decisions. And he has power to make $1 million decisions. And you better have somebody upstairs that has this kind of knowledge. And I said it before, you also need a mayor upstairs today that has a direct understanding of the city finances. I've been there 7.5 years. I've managed and facilitated this multi-million-dollar budget. I don't know any other candidate out there that has my infrastructure knowledge, my experience in managing a multi-million-dollar budget, or any other of the criteria that it takes. You know, I displayed my plan for exiting Act 47. I have a license for building code official. I took code official courses with PCCA in Harrisburg. I'm a business owner. I've actually tore out roads. I've actually paved roads. I've actually installed infrastructure.
So you know,
our last project was Speedway. It's a prime example of what I could do for the city of Newcastle. And I'm not suggesting these other people are bad people. I'm talking about hiring a mayor. And these people better go to the booth with the mindset, experience counts. And I think I have that.
That's a very well.
But you didn't answer my question, though. Would you hire
me? You did. Well, would I hire you? Okay, so I'm being interviewed now. This is unexpected. So you're asking me to handle $20 million.
Your business does $20+ million a year. I come to your office looking for a job. For the record,
Effinite Enterprises does.
I come to your office looking for a job. You read my resume. It shows no history of me being involved in any such type of business that can handle this type of volume. would you say, okay, Mr. Conti, you got the job, run my company?
Well, that's a very loaded question, and
It's a very honest question.
I have to answer that no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want the voters to hear. The only way you're going to hire me, and the only way a voter should hire a mayor, is if he could display that type of experience. And I'm excited that there's a lot of young personalities who want to get engaged in government. That's a great thing. But you have to be ready. You have to be ready to stand tall up there and make a big decision. And if you never ran a company, you never managed people, you don't have any infrastructure knowledge, you didn't manage a multi-million-dollar budget, what are you going to do on day one if a big question comes up and you have to handle it?
Yeah, that's.
And I'm not suggesting we always make all the right decisions. I mean, I made some poor ones, but you learn from them,
right,
not to make that poor one again. If you never had the opportunity to make one, you don't even know if it's going to be right or wrong yet.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah, absolutely. Experience and is interesting, and it does, it does have its merits versus education,
Exactly.
and as a someone that
So for the record, the answer was no, you wouldn't hire me.
Well, you asked a very loaded question live, so yeah, and I asked you to surprise me with that question. I was warned there would be a question. I intentionally asked him to surprise me.
It was fun being on a side that gets to ask the question.
Yeah, right. No, I wish I got to ask. I wish it were more questions like that, because I'm very awkward when I'm asked questions.
Listen, I did some research, and I'm not picking on people that are degreed. God bless you.
You're doing a great second time interview, by the way. You're comfortable. I like it. I dig it.
I went back in my mind. I'm 58 years old. I can go back pretty far. I went back in my mind. I closed my eyes and I looked at Newcastle over the last 40 years. I've looked at it under blue collar mayors, and I've looked at it under mayors that were degreed. Quite honestly, I think our town looked better under the blue collar mayors. There was more storefronts open. Our roads looked good. Our tax base was high. I mean, I'm not so sure you need a master's degree to be a mayor. Maybe you do, and whatever Chris Fry works in, or whatever these other candidates do for a living, but I don't think it's a prerequisite to be a mayor. I think you better understand public works. That's number one. That's our biggest issue out there is public works. We need retooled. We're taking people's tax dollars. We're not going down these streets. And I didn't make this up. Pennsylvania League of Cities put out an email, and I intercepted an email because I'm an elected official. And they did this study in 250 cities. The average motorist will spend in excess of $600 more a year on their vehicle, given that they're driving on poor infrastructure, versus a motorist in a city that's not driving on poor infrastructure. These are the things that they don't teach you in college. Yeah. You just have to know it.
Yeah, you just have to understand.
And you might have the best public works director, but if you're not a mayor that can delegate a duty and know how it's to be done, how are you supposed to tell somebody else what to do? My business, I could tell every one of my men what to do because I've been there, I've done it, I know how to do it. And I'm going to guarantee you this. You will have very good roads in a very short period of time if I'm mayor. Okay? We're going to have a team meeting. Me and Public Works are going to have a team meeting. I will find out who's best suited to run Public Works, and they will all be under my direction.
Have you seen my unique pothole?
I did. I didn't fill it out. I would have started with, I mean, where do you start? I mean, you made 1,000 sheets.
They started with everywhere.
Yeah.
Basically.
And that leads us into this one other thing while we're talking about potholes. We now know that the city finished in the black $1 million, right?
Right. Plus $1 million.
Act 47 gave us their blessing to use 300,000 of them. Now,
is that where that 300,000 came from? I didn't know that.
No, Act 47 told us where I spent 300,000. Okay, but my point is this. You can go out right now and spend this money and put on a dog and pony show and pretend you're patching holes.
Got some good. I seen you posted some good ideas.
We're going to get to that, but you can go out and pretend like put on a dog and pony show because it's election time and hurry up the next 10 days and put all your bodies out there with this throw and go method like we do. They throw it from the top of the truck, hope it hits a hole, run it over with a truck. My philosophy would be this: look, you've lived with this shithole this long. Now let me tell you how to correct the problem in the next 4 years. I went online. I did some research at equipment auctions. For $200,000, we can come home with a used paver, a used grader, a used roller, a milling machine, a bobcat with a milling head. Okay? we can start hitting roads properly. Might take a little bit more time because we're not going to fly around, just throw it from the top of the truck. We're going to saw cut them out. We're going to do them right. And I'll be out there making sure it gets done right. This is an investment in our future.
Because you've seen them
It's
done.
paid for. You buy it, it's paid
Right.
for. We get some training, and we do this right without having to go out to bid. Some areas, it's hole after hole after hole. There's no patching. You've got to saw cut a 20-foot path of road out.
Yeah.
And we're going to get it done. And I'm going to work with the new council, and I promise you, we will have that equipment that any other public works has.
So for 200,000, what would be the projected savings over 10 years with that $200,000?
Well, first of all, if it's a short road, we could pave it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You're buying the material yourself. You're doing it in-house just like I do. The less work I have to sub out, the more profitable I am because I could do it in-house. Well, it's the same thing with public works. If you don't have to go out to bid, don't think that guy don't have a markup on his product and labor.
Right.
Now, can we do every road ourselves? Probably not. But we can attack a lot of the smaller intersections, secondary roads without going out to bid. It would be a great investment in public works. And I'll bet if you talk to anybody at Public Works, they would appreciate having this equipment. You can't do this job.
Active members.
You can't expect these people.
When you hit the table, it shakes the camera.
You can't expect these people to be effective with no equipment. We own pickup trucks and shovels. That's all I've seen. We got a hot box. Big deal. We got a hot box. Look at our roads and tell me the hot box was a great investment. When I buy something for my company, it better make me look good. That's a good investment. We keep talking about these hot boxes. Well, I'm riding down these roads. What did this hot box do for me? I'm still hitting the same holes.
Yeah. So that
you give me the equipment I said I want to buy, and I'll show you a better road within a week.
I saw you post it online.
Absolutely.
So what are they doing now? They're renting the equipment now, or they're just?
I don't know. I don't get involved in public works. It's not my job. I'm the city controller. The mayor's still the boss.
Yeah.
And
right.
I don't tell the mayor what to do. The mayor don't tell me what to do. That's his baby right now.
Okay.
Until he's not there anymore, we're going to follow his direction. He's the boss.
Okay. All right. That's good.
So
that's good. So that's it. I guess I'll make the announcement here. Chris Fry and Albert Conti are going to debate on Wednesday, the 15th. We will be doing it. The location is to be determined. We're going to, my thoughts on it are because most politics are talked at a table, we're going to try and be as family oriented. So we're going to sort of bring in symbiotics of, a family dining room table, if not a dining room table in somebody's house. Morgan Boyd's going to be there, and the list of people that are going to be sitting around the table. It will be a very unorthodox debate, in my opinion. It's breaking the mold of what I think debate should be. It's, if you think about it, we had talk with Anthony Mastrangelo yesterday or a few days ago, and he came in and he said that, his dad used to come in the room and just announce who you're going to vote for. And I gave a counter example of what we did at home, which was argue about it. And that's what I'm hoping to recreate here, is that everybody in Newcastle is going to be a part of that family, and we are going to argue about it, but we all love each other and we all have the same goals in mind, which is, doing the best thing for the most amount of people. But that said, that is going to be Wednesday the 15th. Please make sure, if you want to comment on it, please make sure you do join our group. So what do you expect to see going into that debate on Wednesday? What do you expect to?
I understand Chris Fry very well in the short amount of time that I've known him. Again, he's a very educated
guy.
Sharp guy. Good speaker. I'm more the blue collar guy who's been there and done it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to hear a lot of statistics out of me. I just know how to get it done. I've been there, I've done it, and I'm just going to run with my strengths, and I'm going to rely on the public wanting experience up there.
Okay.
And I said this before. The next mayor, it's no secret, he or she is going to have to get out of Act 47 right in the middle of their first term. And if you don't have a plan, and you don't have experience on how to get out of this, or the city finances, it's a learning experience for you.
Yeah.
You better know what you're doing on day one. So there's no book up there that tells you how to be mayor. You either know this or you don't. And I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying experience counts.
You're saying that, you know, experience. There's no time for.
There's no time to learn up there.
Okay.
You know, and I think you just have to have some knowledge. I do have a lot of knowledge of the inner workings of city government. I have knowledge with the budget. I think I have a plan coming out. You know as well as everybody else does, because I make it public. I'm in favor of home rule charter. Now, there's a way to come out.
Yeah, you mentioned
there's a way to come out without going home rule charter, but I guarantee you the voters wouldn't like you very well. You're going to have to continue to put. We have a $2.9 million debt now. Right now, we're servicing every year till 2025, and it reduces by 50%. So if you can keep putting a Band-Aid on all your problems and robbing from Peter to pay Paul like we're doing now, you might be able to hang in there till 2025. When that debt comes down by 50%, you'll have another $1.5 million to attribute towards roads and other bills. But I'm not in favor of cutting services, and I'm not in favor of raising taxes.
Right.
And I'm not in favor of putting a Band-Aid on our problems. What's that leave you? Home rule charter. When you lose the commuter tax and the resident tax drops, you're going to lose in excess of $3.5 million. And if you can't recoup it,
right,
then you're forced to continue to put a Band-Aid on your problems until your debt service comes down to where you get more money to work with. And I wouldn't suggest that be for the next mayor, because, and I know this mayor is not in favor of home rule charter, and I know he's not in favor of a bond, but I don't think there's ever been a better time with an A- rating to engage into a bond issue, because I don't think we're ever going to see a new road in Newcastle without it.
Yeah. So you feel that it's time to engage in bonds now, and
where are you going to get the money to do all these roads? It's not 1 mile.
I mean,
we got 80 to 90 miles that need fixed here.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you drive around Newcastle, but talk to a bus driver, talk to a police officer, and talk to paramedics. Those are the three people that are on every road in Newcastle daily. They could tell you where the problems are that we might not even know about yet.
Right.
But
I have actually.
After knocking on 1,200 doors in 8 wards, I pretty much have a general knowledge of the problems that we have ahead of us. And listen, you're not going to get elected unless you tell somebody what you're going to do for them. My job's not to sit here and tell you what the other candidates cannot do for you. My job's to sit here and tell you what I think I can do for you. And I do the same thing in business. I don't beat up other people to try to sell myself. We need roads. You cannot continue to take people's tax dollars and not give them something for it. And I said in one of my earlier addresses about an alley restoration program. Listen, I talk to people on streets collectively as a unit who have to hire private agencies to come down and plow their alleys because they can't get out. They don't have a driveway. And go take your car and drive down some of these alleys with me. And I'm going to see if you don't bottom out and they're so rutted.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, we used to grade them and make them acceptable. We don't do nothing for these people. And then they want to know why the taxpayers are fed up with Newcastle.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's that. There is that. And then compile that with no answer. Right. So do nothing and then, or do something somewhere that nobody sees. And then there's no answer. Right. There's no transparency in where that money's going. And I think that's where a lot of that frustration comes from, so people see the bad roads, and then all of a sudden it's in the paper, someone stole something, or, we've just got such a bad ideal of government, and there's a question in there about transparency, and making those things apparent. I think it at least to say that yours is mostly just, show them, right? No.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need a very active mayor right now. You need somebody who can put their work shoes on and walk these streets, understand where the problems are, and have knowledge of really how to fix them.
Yeah.
And hold people accountable. And I'm not suggesting people are bad in our city government,
right.
But you have a job to do when you show up in the morning. And you should look back at the end of the day and say, boy, I was accomplished today. If you can't look in the mirror and tell yourself you was accomplished today, you got to search for something else to do for a living.
If you're shoveling asphalt off the back of the truck.
Well,
and you missed the
it's what they're told to do. I don't think they're doing it right. It's what they're told to do.
It's a great analogy.
I guarantee you, when I'm mayor, there's going to be a new way of doing business. And I'm going to take public works, and that's going to be one of my favorite things to work with.
Okay.
Because being a builder all my years and being in infrastructure, this is going to be an easy one and a fun one for me.
Yeah.
And we're going to look real good, real fast. Or you won't be working for the city of Newcastle. You'll have to go find a job somewhere else, unless you're prepared to take an order and be happy about being there and making sure you give us a full day. That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
You're getting a job, you're getting benefits. We need to be accountable. There's people paying taxes so you have a job. Give them a good road.
For the record, you do believe that everybody is doing well now. You just think that
I just think they need to be told how to do things right, and we need to give their boss equipment so he can tell them how to do it right.
So
maybe he doesn't have what it takes. Again, I don't get involved in public works. It's not my job.
To clarify,
I can only see what's going on, and it isn't going on.
Right.
So
to clarify that statement, you want to give them equipment and better leadership and better training.
Maybe they're doing the best they can with what they have to work with.
Right.
Could very well be.
Yeah, you'll never.
That's going to change abruptly when I'm mayor.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good to hear, because I definitely need new shocks. My wife just put new tires on the car. That's all.
Everybody talks about roads, infrastructure, building demolition. I heard a candidate the other day threatening to wage war on all these people that are bad in our city. The crime problem, the drug problem. I don't understand what this waging war business is. Listen, we have a DA who does a great job. If you want to know what he's doing, if you want to know what he's doing, just jump on his Facebook page and read the Newcastle News every week. That'll pretty much tell you what he's doing. Yeah. And I have the utmost faith in our police department. Should a mayor be engaged? Absolutely. Should he stay in touch with them on a weekly basis and find out what's going on? Sure. I don't think a mayor should be out there playing cops and robbers. Yeah. I think you leave it to the professionals. Yeah. And when you select the police chief, you're selecting someone that you're trusting to do this job for you. If I have to put a gun on and deputize myself to go do it, why do I need a police chief? So I don't buy into the fact that a mayor is waging war on crime. These guys are waging a war on them. And they're doing a good job.
Do you want to talk for a little bit about the criminal enterprise inside of the city?
I don't know what to say about a criminal. We got some bad people that are coming here. I mean, I see that we take them out, and I see a few more enter. Obviously, there's a need for what they're doing here. If you was in business somewhere and your business wasn't doing good, you'd probably leave. Your business is doing good, you're going to stick around. Yeah. Something's keeping them afloat. We have to get to that something. And I'm no more a lawman than you are. I would rely on my police chief and the district attorney's office to do what they need to do. Yeah,
I mean, there is a different bust in the paper every week.
They're doing their job, and I'm sure we're not the only city with this problem.
Yeah, no, it's very spread out.
Yeah.
The ways
if you can get the kids to not be interested in drugs at a young age, these guys wouldn't be setting up shop here because there'd be nothing to set up shop for. But the fact that these people are getting so engaged in drugs at such a young age, there's a business for it. Yeah. And as long as there's a business, you got to stop the people from getting on it. They'll go away.
I think I don't remember who said it, but they put it best. It starts at home.
I'm sure it starts at home. You wouldn't have wanted to grow up the way I grew up. I mean, it was a little barbaric back then. You were taught, you were afraid of your parents.
What side of town did you grow up on?
Lower East Side.
Lower East Side.
But you were afraid of your parents. You were afraid of your school teacher. You were afraid of a police officer.
Your neighbor.
Absolutely.
My neighbor's beat.
Now listen, a little bit of fear is good. I think today the upbringing, we need better parenting.
It takes a village.
School teachers only have a child so long. It's starting at home and when they go back home, if they're going back home. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it is a shame, and a lot of those things, lifestyle, so to speak, I guess, is attractive nowadays. Similar to the 60s and 70s when everybody wanted to be a gangster back then. So that lifestyle was attractive at some point, but it is what it is. So we've covered everything. We've covered Act 47. Do you want to talk about the biggest hot button now? Everybody's talking about is that someone purchased St. Francis.
I only know what I read in the
what's your
newspaper.
thoughts on it? Okay.
I only know what I read in the newspaper, and I'm not well versed on it right now. So I'm not going to comment on something
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too aware of it.
Listen, if it's going to bring jobs and tax base to the city, who's not for it? I hope it works out, and I hope it comes here.
So new business in the city.
Absolutely.
What's your game plan?
Clean up our corners, clean up our own act. You know, we have to clean up first. We were very fortunate to get a speedway here, and those are a plus on your main thoroughfare because it's like a housing development. Nobody wants to be the first one in, but once they start to see some activity there, it's easier to get more traction.
Yeah, first leader.
Exactly
first
right.
follower, rather.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. I'm totally in favor of the Dollar General on Highland Avenue, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple people in Highland Avenue who are going to be mad at me for saying that.
That aren't too favorable for.
But listen to me. It's tax base and it's jobs, and this isn't some little metal building like you see next to CBS Concrete. If you saw the artist rendition, this thing looks like an office complex. They're going to spend over $1 million on that corner. What do you really think is going to happen with the old lighting Tammy funeral the way it sits right now? What's the best that could happen with it?
I think there is a compromise there. I think there's a valuable one if they can continue with the aesthetics. Yeah. You know, if they can keep up with the aesthetics or use some of the infrastructure. I mean,
$50,000 to $100,000, somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a year in taxes, and probably 30 or 40 new jobs. Are they great paying jobs? Maybe not. They're jobs.
Yeah.
If we can continue to do this on every street and every corner, eventually we will look like the Newcastle of old. And you got to quit saying we don't want you here. I mean, that's not going to help you. We need whatever business we can to come to our community.
Can we talk about the Newcastle of old for a second? There was we were in Cascade Park, and we just kind of couldn't do much with the audio there, but it was a great talk about what Cascade Park actually meant to people.
I was a young kid there. I told you my brother's first job was driving the train all day, so I would go there and drive the rides and do whatever the other kid did. But my memory of it was the busloads of people and the train cars of people that came to Newcastle on a weekly basis from everywhere. I mean, we may have gotten 50 to 60,000 people a week that would visit Newcastle because of Cascade Park.
That's 3 times the current population of Newcastle.
There's a CD out that was done by the Vesco family. You have to get your hands on a copy. It shows Newcastle in the 60s and 70s. I think it was like a 1-hour CD.
Well, Bobby Hilke.
He posted a short version of it.
He found that video online, and then he was doing drone footage of it, which I think he's at Cascade Park today, doing drone footage.
It was a great time.
Live drone footage of the Relay for Life. I think
it was a great time in our city. And the Newcastle of old to me was, as a 12-year-old boy, I'd come home from school and do my homework, and having one car in a family, and my father working afternoon turn at a steel mill. My mother cleaned offices at the L&T Bank, which is directly across the street from where the Confluence is now, next door to what was an Isley's. And my job was to walk home or walk downtown at night and pick her up and walk her back home. But we would stop at Isley's, Fountain Inn, Jimmy's Sandwich Shop.
My mom worked
there was a movie theaters with, if we didn't have to get home early, we'd stop and catch a movie and a hot dog.
Yeah.
Valentine's restaurant. It was just a great time. And, I tell everybody, I go to Beaver a lot. We may have talked about this, but if you go down to Beaver, it's a little town, a lot smaller than Newcastle, but it reminds me of Newcastle back in its good day.
I'm listening. I'm sorry. I'm going to see if
But
there's
it
any
does. It reminds me of Newcastle back in a good day. All the mom and pop stores are open. It's clean.
Do you think there'll ever be? It can never be like that again. Let's say it that way, because of the decentralized downtown or the decentralized shopping. It's a different marketplace nowadays where it used to be, hey, let me go downtown, let me go to the hardware store for this. Or
why does other cities have it? Why does Grove City have it? Why does Butler have it? Why does Elwood City have it? And why can't we have it? Why does Beaver have it? I mean, they have shopping centers around them and malls around them. I mean, that's not the problem for them. I think years ago, people started fleeing to Neshannock because they had lower taxes, better services, and it was probably safer. I mean, I can remember when all the doctors and lawyers were downtown and the bankers were downtown, and Neshannock didn't have anything. Now look at Neshannock and look at our downtown. Yeah. Something else we need in downtown, we need a complex for the working man and the working woman, people that don't want to own a home, but want to stay in the city. You're forced to move. If you choose not to own a house, you have a good job, you make decent money, but you don't want to own a home, right? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go in the city of Newcastle? You're forced to go to Union or Neshannock. Where should I go?
Or live in a really rundown.
Yeah, we need like a high-rise condo complex for the people that don't want to own a home but choose to live in the city.
I would be interested in that actually. Yeah, those are nice, and that talk about building foot traffic downtown. Right. There's a ton of that inside of Nashville.
I always thought the First Merit building would have made a good condo complex.
Where's that?
Downtown, the old First Merit building where First Merit Bank used to be downtown.
Yeah, they redid one. Didn't they redo something?
They moved into another branch, but 5 floors elevator. You could have put walking platforms over to the parking deck. Could have 1,000 square foot efficiency apartments in there for the self-pay working person. So you don't have to leave the downtown.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to even own a house nowadays in Newcastle.
It's more renters.
Yeah, exactly.
We talked about absentee landlords. I think you know what I want to do with those people.
Yeah. So actually, let's talk about it again because a lot of people didn't hear that.
No,
that was actually a really interesting.
I just talked to someone the other day in code about how many times they have to go to the magistrate's office with these people and read their names in the property transfers. All these weird company names they come up with. You can't actually even find an owner. If you want to go after one of the owners, you can't find them. And it would be my plan to have a property bond ordinance enacted. When you want to be an absentee landlord from out of state, and you want to own a home in Newcastle and rent it, we want a property bond, and you will receive a package, the same criteria package that we give every other landlord.
Right.
And you're going to have so much time to make that house look like that package, or I will pull your bond for you, and I'll fix the house myself with your money. It's as simple as that. If you don't like the way we operate our town, then go buy a house in some other town, because it's not fair to me and you and everybody else that puts money in our homes, and 2 doors down, somebody from out of state's getting away with murder, and your property value is going down.
It's still
the idea, if you want people to stay here and buy here and spend money here, you cannot watch their property value deteriorate. They're going to tell you to go fly a kite.
Yeah, even with that, it's still a good deal.
Absolutely, it's a good deal. It's accountability. It's holding people accountable. That's all it is. You can't take them to a magistrate. There's only so much they could do to them. I mean, they're probably laughing at these fines. I guarantee you won't be laughing when I pull your bond.
Exactly. You'd rather pull the fine, or you'd rather just pay the fine and be done. Even if it's a monthly fine, you're still making money off the.
These people have destroyed every ward, every single ward. I've been to the free and clear cells on purpose to watch this. Yeah. They come in groups of 15 with $1 million. They've been on every structure.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to stop.
I've seen it happen. A lot of them, if I remember correctly, they form their LLCs in Delaware, so they have special tax privileges.
Read the real estate transfers every week in the paper. You'll see it.
Yeah.
And it's every ward.
Yeah, everywhere. And that's unfortunate. Right.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate that we don't have a group of people. Morgan Boyd, I know I talk about him a lot, but only because when I'm talking with Republicans, that's who I mentioned.
It's just a young bright guy. I enjoy listening to him.
But he said he had a good idea for that too, and which I can't remember now. It slipped my mind. Anyway, so moving on. I forget what he said. It was important to mention here, but we'll just skip it. So we've covered blight. We've covered pretty much everything. I've got one last question for you because, it wasn't, I thought about this question because it was a question I really wanted answered. And I feel that the last person I asked it maybe didn't understand the question. I was looking for let me. And in all fairness, maybe I didn't frame it as good as I'm going
You're
to
gonna give me
now.
one of them loaded ones like I gave you.
I should. I should kill you for that. No, that was a joke. That's it. I'm looking for a message of hope here, for everybody watching and everybody that will watch. I'll just frame it like that, and then I'll ask the question. So, if Newcastle was a ship and you were the captain, what would you say to the people planning to steal the lifeboats and leave?
Watch which ship you swim to, because it might be worse than the ship you just left. That's number one. And when I'm there, I will turn that ship around and I will reach down and bring you back up onto that ship that you left.
You'll make them want to stay.
You'll make them want to stay, because that ship will look like the Newcastle that I grew up in, not the Newcastle that you want to jump off of right now.
Yeah.
And it can be done. It's not going to be done overnight. But you got a lot of good young faces coming in council. You've got a lot of good, bright people. I know with a mayor like me, we can make a big dent in a short period of time. You can't give up hope. I mean, I get up in a day. Sometimes I have a terrible day of business. You're up here, you're down here, but the best thing about ever getting down here is it teaches you how to fight back up. You know what I mean? And you're going to have to fight. There's a fight every day in Newcastle to get better. We just have to work hard at it. So watch which ship you jump off of and watch which one you swim to, because there's some other ships around us that actually look worse than we do right now.
Speaking of ships, we're eventually going to do a interview with the mayor of Farrell, talking about her
Came out of Act 47.
She came out of Act 47.
First city into Act 47, I believe, too, back in the 80s or late 80s.
I didn't know that. I'm really excited to hear about the history of that, actually. So I think that's going to be a good game plan.
Good.
And speaking of ships and captains, how do you feel the current ship and captain? How do you feel how the ship is heading? How do you feel about
Listen,
that?
I say this openly and publicly. I'm not someone who has to bash someone else's head in to get my way. I'm not going to talk bad about our current mayor. I watched your interview with him for an hour. I thought he did a decent job.
I thought he did amazing.
He was Anthony Mastrangelo.
Yeah.
And he wasn't anybody else. And he did do a good job financially.
Yeah.
And I told you, everybody has their strengths. He was watching our money. If he didn't do the job that he did financially, we wouldn't be sitting here right now talking. We'd have been in receivership a long time ago.
Sure.
So, in business, you have to starve yourself and feed your business until your business can afford to feed you.
A lot of people don't understand.
And I think that's all he was trying to do, was starve us for a little while till that Newcastle could afford to feed us. Our business could afford to feed us. And we're getting there now. We're going to get there now. But it took forever because of the debt he was handed. And my hat's off to him. I like Anthony. He's a very intelligent man. He did his job to the best of his abilities. I'm not here to talk bad about him.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking you to either.
I've worked with him in that building, and I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. I worked with him in a building. You can learn something from everybody. Okay.
I think the interview with him, I think it was actually, to be honest with you, I think this is probably our best interview yet.
He was him. He was himself.
No. I mean, I'm talking about the interview with him was good, but I'm saying this is probably our best interview yet. But at that point, I think that was the best interview I'd done. But I think this is probably the best.
I get turned off.
This is probably the better of the two Albert Contis we've seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is your second interview. You did it better.
This isn't
you're more in your element.
This isn't a presidential.
More in your office too.
This isn't a presidential election where you're going to bash someone's brains in and probably never have to see them again because they're at the other end of the country. Let me remind you something. Everybody that's running for office is in this small little town of ours. You're going to have to see each other. You're going to have to work with each other eventually.
Yeah.
If you want good. So I don't understand the idea of throwing all these punches and stuff.
Yeah, there's no point.
Speak your piece. Tell people why you think you should be mayor. And if you're not elected mayor, work with whoever comes into office. Don't bash their brains in and have no intentions of ever seeing them again. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I found dealing with politics in my last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It gets weird. It's a weird atmosphere or it's like a weird place to navigate. You know, you really gotta watch what you say. You really do. You know, but all right.
Well,
You got any closing statements? Unless you.
I'm going to tell you again. I'm going to tell you again. When you go to the polls on May 21st, you're going to be hiring a mayor. Make sure you look at their qualifications, look at what they've done in the past. Do they have a history of bringing jobs and businesses to Newcastle? Do they have a history of managing and facilitating a multi-million-dollar budget? This is no time to put an inexperienced mayor upstairs. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you at the polls.
We'll see you Wednesday.
Thanks.
Albert Conti. Thank you so much. And we're going to end the broadcast now.